You've been a student of electronic communication engineering. Do you also think in terms of some communication skills which the companies actively look for?
Do you have any formal events of that type or occasions where you get people together and practice them?
You played volleyball in IIT sports meet. Suppose the score is equal in the volleyball. Who will win the game?
May I come in, sir?
Please come in.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please be seated. Venkatesh, you finished your BTech in 2019.
Yes, sir.
And what have you been doing thereafter?
So after graduation, I worked as a chip design engineer in Qualcomm for more than 2 years. And after that, I have resigned from the company and started preparing for civil services.
So till 2021, where you are working with Qualcomm.
Yes, sir.
Right. What is the policy of the government of India towards chip manufacturing?
Sir, realizing the strategic importance of semiconductors, government came up with the National Semiconductor Mission with more than $10 billion incentives. The aim of the government is to establish a robust semiconductor fabrication ecosystem in the country. It is actively partnering with the private players. So currently, private players came up and starting fabrication units in Assam and Gujarat. And in the coming times, government focus is more on encouraging more investments.
Can you give us more details about the chip manufacturing? Because there are different companies. I mean, chip manufacturing has got three essential components: the foundry and then the packaging and the things involved.
Yes.
So can you tell us which is located where? And what are the type of funding that is going on? Because there's 50% subsidy from the government of India. There are other PLI, etc. also here. And then apart from that, there are some incentives to be given by the state governments also. So can you explicate on this?
Yes, sir. So semiconductor supply chain involves multiple components. First comes the design part. So currently, if we take the whole world, India is very good in the design ecosystem, and majorly USA holds the most designing aspects of the semiconductors. And when it comes to fabrication, today Taiwan dominates the fabrication of ICs. More than 60% of the world market is captured by Taiwan. And when it comes to support from the government, from the semiconductor mission, government is actively promoting. In addition to that, we have design linked incentives and other production linked incentives for electronics manufacturing. They will help boost the semiconductor manufacturing in the country. And coming to state governments, every state government is actively encouraging the private players to come up and establish their factories inside the state so that it will boost job creation and economic growth. So they are giving certain incentives like availability of land parcels at token prices and certain subsidies like power and water facilities so that these plants will function efficiently without any interruptions. So overall, these are the aspects involved in the semiconductor chains.
Right. You have also been a member of the college placement committee.
Yes, sir.
Right. What are the attributes that the placement committee sees in a candidate in which it tries to enroll an employee?
For this placement committee, it acts as a bridge between the candidates and the companies. So it actively encourages the candidates by providing them with the necessary skills for the candidate to face the interviews, particularly during the campus placements. So the placement committee hopes the candidates are well versed with their subject knowledge so that they can face the interview questions in a confident manner. And it also talks with the companies and it gets to know the requirements of the companies, like what set of skills the candidates should possess, so that the committee can help the candidates with that preparation of those skills so that they will be well equipped to face the interviews. So overall, it is for the benefit of the students who are appearing for placements so that they are equipped with all the skills so that they have a good success ratio in the placements.
No, but I was asking what are the attributes that the employer looks into a candidate.
So first thing, the employer looks is the suitability of candidate. They should possess sufficient skills which are required by the industry. They also check for in-depth knowledge of the candidates in its theoretical subjects. And also they looks about the skills that a candidate should possess while working as a team member, the way the candidate works together with his team members and contribute to the completion of projects in a timely manner. So hardly these things are looked in a
You've been a student of electronic communication engineering. Do you also think in terms of some communication skills which the companies actively look for?
Yes, sir. Apart from that, the technical knowledge, communication skills also plays a major role because at the end of the day, it is about execution of projects as a team. So it requires effective communication between the team members so that any problem encountered can be dealt together as a team and projects will be completed in a timely manner. So communication is also an important attribute. And certain in-company training is also provided to candidates so that they are well versed with these things.
Let's have a situation. You have a candidate who's got a flair for good communication. He speaks very well, he articulates very well, he
Yes.
comes to points very well, right? And you have another candidate, in fact, he's a bit of an introvert, but a master in his field. Who would you like to change? Who would you select for a certain job?
Sir, it depends on the type of job I am interviewing the candidate for. Particularly if it comes to technology, a job like a design engineer in semiconductors, I would look for the professional competency. So I would go for in-depth understanding of the concept. So I prefer that candidate who has good mastery over the subject knowledge. But there are certain jobs which require the candidates to interact very well with the clients, very well with the team members. For example, the job is for human resources side. I think a candidate who has fluency over the communication skills, who can work together with the teams and across the stakeholders, I think communication skills are preferred in that roles.
Would you prefer what you call a team worker or solo performer?
I do not think they are mutually exclusive, sir, because it's all of individual competency is required for any job, and at the same time, you should be able to work together as a team as well, because any project requires team sharing where tasks are assigned to members based on their strengths, and they together has to coordinate and complete the work in time. So both aspects are required in a candidates.
Right, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you pronounce your name?
Sir?
How do you pronounce your name?
Actually, Banna Venkatesh is fine, sir, but actually it is Banna Venkatesh. That is my family name, sir.
No. You prefer to be called Venkatesh or
Yes, sir. Venkatesh is my name. Yes.
Venkatesh. Okay, Venkatesh. How do you prepare the candidates for interview?
Sir, I think interview is not just about the knowledge of the candidates, because that is already tested in the mains phase. So interview tries to know more about the personal.
How do you prepare them?
So I would advise the candidates to be more confident and to know more about themselves than what's happening around. I would request the candidates to focus on their strengths. They have to know their weaknesses, like particularly which areas they are lagging, be it communication skills or articulation skills. So I think I would like to work. I would like the candidate to work on inner strengths rather than focusing on general information and all.
Inner strength, what does that imply? Inner strength.
Inner strengths, there are many aspects, sir. First thing, the confidence of the candidate. Like coming to the interview is an achievement in my opinion, because he has passed the intense competition and came to this stage. So confidence is one internal strength, and also he should have self-belief in him or herself, because this preparation requires a lot of patience and time, and without self-belief that is not going to be possible. So these traits I
So
feel.
do you impart any coaching or any GD practice or something before the people go for the interview as preparation from your end?
I think this preparation will also help the candidate.
No. What do you do? My question was, what do you do? How do you prepare them?
So once the candidate focus on these basic traits, then I would prefer going for the interview, because practice interview, because it helps them to understand how he is responding to the questions, whether he is able to articulate in a structured manner, whether he is able to convey to the members about.
Do you have any formal events of that type or occasions where you get people together and practice them?
So practicing within the peer groups, I would suggest more than attending panel marks for every other days.
Fine. Right. Let's talk about ceasefire between Israel and Hamas.
Yes.
Israel is not much accepting the terms and the demands of Hamas. What are the three demands of Hamas, because of which it is getting foiled up?
Sir, Hamas is fighting for independent Palestine. They
What,
were.
what are the demands?
Sir, I am not very clear about the
Okay.
demands.
Okay, fine. Recently, we have had Moscow massacre,
Yes, sir.
where more than 100 people have died and more than 200 have been injured.
Yes.
What was the reason? Who has taken responsibility? Who had given a cue to them earlier, to Russians earlier, and still it happened?
Sir,
What
it's
was
the-
it all about, and what does Russia think about it?
Sir, it is the Islamic State Khorasan group which has claimed responsibility for this attack. USA didn't give any explicit information, but they warned Russia about certain events can happen, and it warned Russia about it. But I think unfortunately the incident happened, and many civilians are dead. So the ISK has given certain explanation like involvement of Russia in Syria and the Middle East, and suppression of the ISIS as a whole is one of the reasons for this attack on Russia. I think Russia has to deal it. It has to protect its sovereignty interests and interests of the civilians as well. So it has to track down the perpetrators and bring them to justice.
What else was the perception built about this happening, the attack happening over there? The reason for attack or the massacre?
So, apart from the earlier reason, I do not know at present other reasons.
This was also, the word was going around that because of election of Putin.
Yes, thank you.
No, possible.
I think that can be one factor in my opinion, sir, because
And also the Ukraine war, prolonged Ukraine war. Within the country, people don't want the war to be prolonged anymore.
sir, I'm not
Could that
very
be a
sure
reason?
about the internal affairs, but so the continuous election of President Vladimir Putin and his promises of eradicating terrorism in the country as a whole, that can be one reason that provoked these attacks, in my opinions.
And what is Russia thinking about it? They are investigating, all right, but they have some pointers towards 3 U's. Which are the 3 U's?
So Russia is claiming Ukraine might have involved in this attack by helping these terrorists who have planned these attacks. And other than Ukraine,
Which are the
I'm
3 U's? One U you have said, Ukraine.
I'm not very about it.
US, maybe UK.
I'm not very sure about this, so I cannot comment.
Right. Recently, Sri Lanka, they have said that they are going to get some help from China
Yes,
to build their seaport and the airport.
yes.
How do you look at this in Indian context?
Sir, in Indian context, we always have certain concerns about the increasing presence of China, particularly in the Indian Ocean region. By investing in the seaport, the Hambantota port, so China can build up its naval presence in the region, which is seen by India as a threat to its internal security. So it takes up these issues in a serious way with the neighboring countries through high-level discussion. And we have raised our concerns about the research vessels that China is operating in the Indian Ocean as well. So we have expressed our demands, and Sri Lanka has given 1-year moratorium on any foreign research vessel conducting research operations on its shores. So I think we have to be very careful about presence of China in the Indian Ocean.
How do you think you're going to counter?
So I think we have to engage in a productive way with the neighboring countries, particularly Sri Lanka, Maldives, which are part of Indian Ocean region. And also we have the regional grouping called Quad in the region, which acts as a economic group, and as well as whenever required, it can have military assistance as well for promoting peace in the region, peace and stability. So engaging with these regional groupings and countering the Chinese aggression is one way we can deal with these issues.
Okay. Thank you.
Venkatesh,
Yes.
who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a famous Bhakti saint. He propounded the ideals of the Lord Krishna particularly in the West Bengal region. So that is what I am aware.
Role of Swami Dayanand Saraswati in social religious movement. Can you tell some of the contribution of that Swami Swami Dayanand Saraswati?
So Swami Dayanand Saraswati is an important social religious reformer. He propounded the Arya Samaj particularly to enlighten the society and create peace and harmony in the society. He also propounded for women equality and freedom in the society. He encouraged women's education and widow remarriages. He also worked for the upliftment of children as well. So roughly these are the things he advocated for India in the freedom movements.
You played volleyball in NIT sports meet.
Yes, sir.
Suppose the score is equal in the volleyball. Who will win the game?
I think it will continue, sir. One more. It will go for one more round, and depending on that, it will be.
I think I'm talking about that score is equal in a particular game. Then who will win the game?
Sir, I think it is the team that served that has the serve. I think it wins the games.
Have you aware of the last evening of the Indian Premier League match?
Yes, sir.
What happened?
Sir, actually, that match broke the earlier record of RCB of highest score in a T20 format. Both the teams have played very well, and it is the first IPL match where 500 runs are crossed in a match.
Are you a batsman or a bowler?
I am an all-rounder, sir.
All-rounder.
Yes.
Okay, fine. New rule has been implemented in 2024 IPL. What are these rules?
So, I'm not aware about in 24, but they have introduced a substitute player in the last season, and it is
Apart from these?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware.
What is cloud seeding? Is that work in Indian means weather condition?
So cloud seeding is a technique where we artificially induce cloud formation by spraying certain chemicals which can help in cloud formation. And from Indian side, IIT Kharagpur has actively been involving in these trials where it successfully demonstrated cloud seeding for certain and creating artificial rainfall. I think given the uncertainties with climate change, I think this technology can be helpful in fighting the water scarcity in the regions.
My next question, if suppose you are a district magistrate of the drought prone area of Rajasthan, like Jaisalmer or Bikaner,
Yes.
And there is a scarcity of drinking water, what you will do as a district magistrate?
Sir, since drinking water is an essential need, I think I should prioritize the drinking water needs over other needs. So availability of drinking water through surface water mechanism, I would work on that. Secondly, I would reduce the consumption of drinking water, reduce the consumption of water across the district for other purposes. For example, there can be certain ban on usage of water for other domestic purposes, for car washing or any other unnecessary activities that are not very essential. So diversion of water is one thing I would work upon. These are the short-term measures, but in the long-term measures, since it is an arid region, long-term improving the groundwater table is one of the priorities as a district collector for me. So I would work on afforestation and groundwater recharge mechanisms in the district so that water table is improved.
Okay, thank you.
I got just one or two points. Firstly, you speak very well,
Thank you, sir.
and there is a good flow,
Yes.
a good flow of thought and everything. But you have to speak a little slow.
Yes, sir.
You can't change it now, I know, but just be aware that you speak a little fast. Don't try to change it now, otherwise it will change your whole style.
Yes, sir.
You lose out on content then, delivery of content. Just be aware that you speak fast, but you speak all right. We can understand what you're saying. And you are quite logical in your answer generally, and you're well prepared.
Thank you, sir.
Venkatesh, a little bit eye contact is required while giving your answers to the other members.
Yes, sir.
Number one. Number two, that you should means replace this red tie with some other color.
So is red not preferable, sir?
No, I think so.
थोड़ा झटका लगता है. I mean, it's slightly.
Blue or gray.
Loud.
When is your interview?
It's on 5th April, sir.
Still you have time. If possible, you can replace it.
Yes, sir.
Regarding that volleyball question, if the game is going on and the score is level, then what happened, that continuous tour service of that any team which they lead, they will win the game in a particular set of 3.
Yes, sir.
Regarding that IPL matches,
Yes.
there are some changes, like the 2 bouncers allowed a bowler to bowl in a over.
Yes.
Number 1 substitute is there,
Yes.
and the third is if you take a strategic timeout, you have an option to take one time in a match.
Yes.
And other things also you need to know about, that who is that Olympic winner in the volleyball, or maybe ASIAD, or the national in that Indian national team, or maybe the tournament which involves that volleyball and all.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll go through.
I'll give you some feedback actually. Tie, yes, as they mentioned, perhaps if we can do away with the red and maybe put a mode, something like a yellow, not because I'm wearing yellow, that you also need to wear yellow. That's not the context, but with black, perhaps yellow may look much better. Now, you have an outstanding, seeing your, what you call, your educational background,
Yes.
and you have a solid marks everywhere. So there's one question that might always come up. Why do you want to do a generalist service like the police or the IAS, etc.? Rather than why don't you, and I have worked for Qualcomm, in fact, you can significantly, be contributing to the nation's growth. And as Sanyal said, you must have heard about Sanyal and the controversy that they generated, in fact. Just think on those lines,
Thank you, sir. I will look at.
Why the civil service? Why not your academic record?
Yes.
And I was generally asking you about what are the attributes. They had something in mind, why I was asking all these questions, because by this thing, I was thinking that perhaps you could have done. I mean, that would perhaps have been a better choice. Would have done much better. But anyhow, so that's the way I perceive. But from the board's perspective,
Yes.
you should know why you want to join the civils and why not, because of your outstanding academic record. It's consistently outstanding.
Thank
You
you.
see a lot of records done well, then of course it dips, then again picks up, you're also consistent. Now your name is Venkatesh, which got so the Shaivism and what you call Vishnu and Shaiv, and in the backdrop of South and the North. So try to have some idea, because all of a sudden they might start talking about God, etc. So not that we opted philosophy, but then of course they do expect, because of the name, that is what I was always thinking about. And then of course I was finding that in some areas you do not have the, very contemporary issues. All of a sudden you draw a blank. When you're talking about Hamas also, then Sir was asking some other issues also. So perhaps you were not totally conversant. But you have time, so revise it.
Yes, sir.
You have time, so revise it. And you have a good flow. You're speaking. I'm not saying that I'm trying to say you speak too much. You try to understand the question and then speak.
Yes.
So that your answers become brief and sharp.
Yes.
You know things, So you have to prioritize your answers. You prioritize the issues.
Yes.
Right? Now, let us say Sir asked you about water shortage. As a collector, you are and then of course you mentioned about so many issues that you're going to have, you're going to recharge the aquifers but the more important issue, especially in terms of conservation of water, is also in terms of the leakages and the wastage. In fact,
Yes.
if you see the figures, etc., then you realize how much wastage goes into it. And you have to have a short term and a long term. You try to mention, it's not that you have not been mentioning, but try to sharpen the answer,
Yes.
And that, why they ask you, because you opted for geography as one of the papers, and then of course geography has been your optional paper.
Yes, sir.
And geography also, then of interlinking of rivers, etc., you must know about these issues.
Yes.
And what are the issues of how much it has succeeded, in fact, about the demography dividend. All of a sudden you said that our replacement rate is around 2.0, but I think it's 1.9, and by the prediction for 2050 is, just check it up.
Yes.
Because my knowledge says 1.9, it's not 0.2. But
Yes.
do check it up.
Yes, sir.
I might also be wrong sometimes, and they are saying the way the things are working out, by 2050 will come to 1.29. and India has to think in terms of how to cope up with this challenge.
Yes.
You mentioned everything you mentioned. You mentioned them very well in terms of looking after elderly and also in terms of migration from one state to another state.
Yes.
So these are larger issues. There's one area I did not question you, but I thought, because you see, ultimately we can't. I've been going through DAP and so many things.
Yes.
You come from an agriculture background,
Yes.
right? Background agriculture. So the ongoing agitation, why it is not in your state? Why it is not in your state?
Yes.
It's Punjab, Haryana, etc. And then the WTO, the existential crisis in the WTO,
Yes.
is very important for you.
Yes.
Because see, ultimately, why the government is not agreeing to the MSP, etc., is also because of the commitment that it has for the WTO, and everybody is agitating against. Now everybody is saying it's going for multilateralism. Now, most of the states are trying, most of the countries are trying to protect their own turf.
Yes.
So these are large challenges, but you should be able to link these things up. So look into all these issues. You still have a bit of time.
Yes.
And I would only request you, in fact, you're a bright candidate, but you have to sharpen your answers. You know everything, but prioritize them, and you have time.
Yes.
Now, in that context, what I'll suggest is that you do a bit of written work, right?
Yes.
Take up an issue, that 20 to 40 issues. You still have time. 5 तारीख का हो गया, कितने दिन हो
5
गया?
तारीख का
6, 7, 8 दिन हो गए. Here's got time. You can do that.
Yes.
Take out A4 sheets of paper. Take up those important issues and prioritize the issues.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that when you go to the interview, you have a frame of response.
Yes.
Don't go from here to there and then from there to there. You're not going, not that you're going like that, but you are being, and you're rattling off too many points.
Yes.
And the board may not be interested in listening to so many points.
Yes.
Board may be interested into the crux of the issue.
Yes.
And the moment they get satisfied, they'll switch over to something else.
Yes.
Right? So thank you very much. And it's a first interview.
Yes, sir. It's my first time.
First interview. So you're a very bright candidate, and keep the flag flying high.
Thank you, sir.
So prepare like that, huh? Prepare. Sit down and do that preparation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.